Good morning to all class 9 students. Welcome back to your class. This is your English teacher. In our last video, we were done with the chapter The Little Girl, the third chapter. And we were done with the summary, the value-based questions. We also learned what values one should have, especially in the young kid and also with the parents, right? Now that we are done with that chapter, in the same unit we have the poem The Rain on the Roof. So we are going to start it today, right? See, weather affects our mood in all way, isn't it? For an example, during cold, people love to snuggle under those warm blankets, isn't it? During the loud heat of summers, we all love to find, a sort of cool place. And excessive heat can also trigger sometimes headaches, isn't it? So, how does rain affects our mood? Rain for a long time has been a metaphor of longing and nostalgia. Many poets have sung about this feeling when the rain starts pouring down. Apart from Coet Skinny, what happens after the first rain has poured? You can see children setting paper boats to sail in those rivulets, small streams of water, isn't it? The earth releases, a sort of fragrance. Some people love to sit by the window. Some like to rest and recollect the memories of past. So this poem, The Rain on the Roof, is all about how the poet is recollecting and cherishing the loving and the sweet memories of his past when he was a young child, and how his mother used to put him and all other siblings of him to bed. You see? So rain is a sort of, establishing a connection here. It has a sort of, rejuvenating and healing strength when it offers a sort of positive thoughts and imagination in someone's mind, right? Okay, let's go to what we have to read. Right. When the sky is covered with dark clouds and it starts raining, have you ever listened to the patter of soft rain on the roof? What thoughts flashed through your mind as you heard this melody of nature? Read this poem to find out what the poet had dreamed of while listening to the rain. Yes, Coet Skinny is an American poet in English, and he is sort of, recollecting the memories, thinking about his late mother when he was a small child in his boyhood. How he used to enjoy and had a lot of fun with the mother, and how the mother always remained on his side. All such collection of memories he cherishes over in this poem. Let's go to the first stanza. Right. This poem, as you can see, it is divided over 3 stanzas, right? Let us try to paraphrase the first stanza. Okay. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry frieze, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. Right, let's take the first 4 lines now. Humid here refers to something that has moisture into it. Okay? Shadows refer to those clouds that has a lot of moisture. You see, there are full of moisture in there. and they are about to bring a lot of rain. Hovering, hover, that means moving from one to the other place, right? This word may be a little, I think, new to you. Melancholy, yes, this word is melancholy. That means sad. Something that creates sadness around you. Bliss. Okay, little next 4 lines. What a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Right. So again, bliss here, that means something happy, happiness. Patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter is the sound of the raindrops falling on the roof. Now, cottage chamber, I think he refers to his bedroom perhaps, where he is lying in the bed and resting. So, in the first 4 stanzas, what does he say? Poets say that when the humid shadows hover, that means the clouds that are full of water, right? They hover around in the sky. When they move around in the sky over all the starry sprees. Starry refers to the night in the sky, sky in the night, sorry. And sprees, that is during the night time, how the sky is full of stars. So that is referred here in a phrase, the starry spree. So at that time, huge clouds which are full of moisture and full of water move round in the sky, and the sad darkness, that referred here as melancholy. You see this word, melancholy, darkness. The sad darkness of the night is wiped off by the raindrops which seem like tears falling from the sky. The poet is comparing the raindrops to tears. He says that the dark sky, which seems to be very sad, but how this sadness of the sky is wiped off, it appears as if it is crying, and the raindrops, they shed the tears. So he adds that it is like a blessing for him to lie onto his bed, in his bedroom, perhaps in his cottage chamber, and just listen to the pitter-patter sound of the raindrops falling on the roof. Right. Okay, so he says the darkness around him is making him sad and reflective, and the rain also seems to be reflecting his emotions, as it looks like tears falling softly from human eyes. You see, at this point, the only thing that can bring joy to the poet is to simply snuggling himself up into a pillow in the bed of his cottage. So there is, you must have noticed in this line, lie listening here. Right. The second last line of the first stanza, lie listening, the sound of L is being repeated here, right? So this is the poetic device, alliteration that is happening here, right? Okay. In the other third line of the first stanza, you read the melancholy darkness. Again, the poetic device personification is happening here. The reason why is, see, the sadness, as if it's weeping gently by shedding tears in the form of rain. So something like an inanimated object is given a human form, right? So this sort of poetic device is known as personification. When an inanimated object in human, any object is given a human form, that becomes the poetic device personification. Right. Now let's go to the second stanza. What does he say in the second stanza? Right. Every tinkle on the shingles has an echo in the heart, and 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy beings start, and 1,000 recollection weave their air threads into woof, as I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. Again, few content words here. Tinkle is a sort of, tinkling sound, ringing sound. Shingles are the rectangular wooden tiles used on the roof. We have this sort of, perhaps you must have seen the clay tiles. They are also called the shingles. An echo, that is the repeated sound, like a reverberated sound. Woof, the thread woven across the loom. Patter, again the sound word patter, the sound of falling of the raindrops on the roof. Busy being here perhaps refers to the human beings, and the poet is referring to himself here. Busy being, that means otherwise busy being poets do not have time to think and to recollect their memories, right? But here the rain is giving him a chance to ponder over and cherish over the childhood memories of him. The poet here is expressing his feelings when he hears the pitter-patter sound on his roof. He says that every tinkling sound on the shingles has made an echo in his heart. With every raindrop falls onto his roof, there is an echo, whenever he hears rain falling on the roof. Okay, whenever he hears the rain falling on his rooftop, perhaps it is, getting repeated in his heart and in his dreams as well. As he says, he has many different and fanciful imaginations. He adds that this sound of the rain falling on his rooftop creates many new different dreams in his mind. He recollects many memories of the past which come back into his mind as dreams. So he says that as he listens to the patter and pitter sound of the rain upon the roof, he has many new dreams in his mind and the memories of the beautiful past that he had from the dreams. Right. This line is important here. Weave their air threads into the woof. As if, when we see, look at the rosary. How many beads are there in the rosary? Like they are woven into one another, isn't it? After one another. So one after the other one, in his mind, the imagination is passing by, the one after the other. Same like the beads are woven into a loom. Okay. Now in the third stanza, now in memory comes my mother, as she used in years agone here in the past, to regard the darling dreamers. Right. Ere she left them till the dawn. Oh, I feel her fond look on me as I list to this refrain, which is played upon the shingles by the patter of the rain. Okay, few hard content words. There must be a new word for you called ERE, pronunciated as air, right? Air. Air is an old poetic word for before, right? In olden English, if you want to speak before, If someone wanted to speak before, that means air. Right. Okay. Refrain. What is a refrain? Refrain is a repeated phrase, line, which is getting repeated every now and then in the stanza, especially even either in the beginning or in the end. Right. So, darling, that means loving. Dreamers here refers to perhaps the poet's other siblings. They used to dream a lot while sleeping. So they are referred here. He refers them all as dreamers, right? Darling, that means loving siblings here. Here the poet introduces his mother. In this stanza, he says that he is dreaming and imagining about his late mother. As he had told in the previous stanza that rain brings a lots of memories of past. It is the memory of his mother who is no longer alive now, who is no more. But in the past, how she used to love him, she used to consider him a darling, a loving, and she would let him sleep till day break and have sweet dreams. Till the dawn, all the children will be remaining in bed and she will allow all of them to sleep. The poet can still feel that his mother as if looking at him as he listens to the song made by the raindrops falling on his rooftop. So it is the rain who is establishing a sort of connection between the late mother and the poet himself. The sound of the rain makes him correlating his past with his present. That is why the poet is moved by the sound of the rain drops on the shingles of his room. Now, whenever he hears the sound, it brings back the memories of the past and he is reminded of his mother. Right. Right. Here we have completed the poem. Now I want you to go through the summary part, a quick summary. You can see the rain on the roof. What is the introduction here? All of us have different memories attached to the season of rain. Some love to engage in various activities and some perhaps sitting by the window with a hot drink and enjoy the musical sound of raindrops pattering on your windowsill and the rooftop, same like the poet did. Many, like the poet, loves to rest in bed and recollect the past memories. The sound of rain is very pleasing to ears and hearts. When we hear this sound, we tend to forget everything and start feeling a bit nostalgic. And this remains the same to almost everybody. Cherishing the memories of past, it happens usually when it rains. Many of us would cherish the sweet memories of past. Here the poet listens to the pitter-patter sound of the rain, which brings back the memories of his childhood and especially about his mother, his late mother. So, what is the theme here of this poetry? The theme of the poem is the healing strength of rain. The musical sound of raindrops falling on the rooftop at night has the ability to revive sweet memories and stirring someone's imagination, creating and forming those virtual pictures in an otherwise busy mind. The rain thus soothes and comforts an overworked mind by taking it back to its lovely past. So this is one of an attribute of the rain. It is a positive characteristic of rain, a part of making you feel so humid. This is one of a good characteristic of the rain. How is the title justified? The poet feels that there is magic on his rooftop and is lying lazily in his bed and thinking of his mother. So when he adds the before rooftop, he refers to his own rooftop and none other. And that rooftop of his cottage that reminds him of his childhood, his siblings, his mother. So every time it rains drop by drop on his roof, that those many memories about him being a child as if releases one after the other. How beautifully he justifies the title. Therefore, the title, The Rain on the Roof, is just an apt and the most perhaps suitable one. Now, what message does it give you, this sort of poetry? This is written by a romantic poet, and you can see a lot he says about the rain, right? He speaks about the nature. In this poem, whenever the poet hears the pattering sound on his rooftop, he remembers sweet memories of his childhood, especially one that relates to his mother. So the rain seems to have such a remedial force, you see, especially for him, because he bonds up with his mother. And why only for the poet? It also helps all of us to cherish our good memories. So the poem refers to the fact that the rain is Mother Nature's way of showing her remedial and restorative characteristics, you see. It leaves an everlasting memory in the mind of humans with its presence, its fragrance, and the sound apart from the experience of humans with it. Okay, a short and brief summary. Coet Skinny, being a romantic poet, has expressed his love for nature in this poem very beautifully. According to him, while it rains, it's enjoyable to rest in bed and think about all what has happened in past. Past brings both good and sad memories. The poets are usually busy writing the poems in solitary environment, you see. But for poets, when the starry sky changes into clouds filled in with rainwater, he feels that the raindrops are the gentle teardrops of clouds, as if the cloud sheds water and it makes the humans happy. And the recollection of his boyhood memories starts. Perhaps he sees the face of his loving mother in his mind. So this is how rain becomes a linkage. It provides a sort of connection between the past and the present for the poet. Now, how many poetic devices are used here? You have seen alliteration, the sound of L, that is lie listening. When the consonant sound is happening in a very close proximity, the alliteration takes place. Again, in the starry sprees, the consonant sound of S is being repeated here. So again, the alliteration is happening. The personification we talked about, the non-human objects are portrayed in such a way that we feel that they have ability to act like human beings. The poet shows here the darkness which saddened and therefore shedding tears like humans in the form of raindrops. Example, melancholy darkness. Right. You can also, I can give you another example of personification. That is, the sun came out of the ocean, you see. Usually the sun cannot come out of the ocean. But here we are using this, the sun came out of the ocean. This can be referred as personification. Right, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is whenever we use the sound words such as the buzzing of bee. So let's say buzz, right? So this is a sound word. Here, what are the sound words? They are usually the sound words. For an example, petter, pitter. So, pitter, petter are the sound words. Again, the poetic device onomatopoe is happening here. Some key points are there for you to refer through. While the poet is resting on his bed, the rain starts pouring slowly. The roof is made of tin, so it creates such a musical effect of raindrops. Every raindrop as if creates an reverberation, you see, in his heart, and he goes into his sweet past. He thinks of his late mother, how she used to put all the siblings to bed, nicely tucking them all in, and wished them sweet dreams before retiring in her own bedroom, and always remained by their side till early dawn, till early morning. That's why the word dreamers is used here by the poet. All right. There is no VBQ as such in this poem. However, there are a couple of short questions that we are soon going to do here in this video. We are going to discuss their answers. But instead of writing a VBQ, I want you to write a short note on how does the rain help the poet to cherish his memories of his boyhood. You write this short note in your CW in some 100 words. Okay? Okay, let's quickly go through the question answers. Here you can see thinking about the poem. The first question has 4 questions and the second question has 3 questions, right? What I want you to do here is you will write question 1 in your CW. In question 1 there are 4 questions. All 4 questions go into your CW, and from the second question only the third one you will be writing in your CW, not the first one and the second one. You got it? Let me repeat. In second question you will be writing only third question in your CW. First and second questions are open questions, and all of you may have different opinions about it. Okay, so that is there for us to discuss. They do not have to be written in your CW. Only third question you have to write in your classwork. Okay, let's start from the first one. There are a couple of phrases that are given to you, though we have discussed them already while having the poem. I will just paraphrase them for you. Okay, I will give you their meanings. Please listen to it carefully. What do the following phrases mean to you? Discuss them in the class. Right. What do the first one mean? Humid shadows. Humid, that is something with moist, and shadows here refers to the clouds. So the clouds full of moisture and water. Second, star is free. This is the area of the sky wherein the stars appear. What a bliss! What a joy! Right? What a joy for the poet to lie in the bed and joyfully listens to the pitter-patter sound from the rooftop. Okay. 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy being start. This refers here the recollection of past memories and how the poet finds himself lost in the dreams, lost in the imagination during this rainy weather. Right. 1,000 recollections weave their air threads into woof. We have talked about it. It seems the poet recollects hundreds of memories while it is raining, and one after the other memory comes like those beads in the loom. You see, like those air threads. Okay. Now question second one. What does the poet like to do when it rains? Well, it is but natural now, and you all can answer this. The poet loves to lie on his bed in his cottage chamber, and he would love to listen to the pitter-patter sound of the rain. What is the single major memory that comes to the poet's mind? And who are the darling dreamers he refers to? The poet's mother is the only single major memory, that means the poet's late mother, that comes to his mind. And darling dreamers are those kids who remember their mothers like the poet, or he perhaps is referring to his own siblings, how the mother used to put all of them to bed. Okay, question number 4. Is the poet now a child? Is his mother still alive? Okay, right, just put it here. No, the poet is not at all a child, but his mother is no more. He is missing his mother, let's say. He is thinking of his mother. The memories of his late mother are still haunting him, right? Okay, let's go to second question. When you were a young child, did your mother tuck you in as the poets did? Well, of course, all mothers do the same. Do you like rain? What do you do when it rains stealthily or heavily as described in the poem? Well, some of us would love to remain indoors and play indoor games, watch TV, have a hot drink, and so on, isn't it? Everyone will be doing different things when it rains. Right, the third one is very important. Does everybody have a cozy bed to lie in when it rains? Look around you and describe how different kinds of people or animals spend time and seek shelter, etc. when it rains. You see, not at all. Everybody is not so lucky and fortunate to have a cozy bed to lie in when it rains. There are some people who live at the railway platforms and the bus terminals and the subway terminals, or under the parking slots. They don't have even a cover, a sort of a bed sheet or a bed cover to cover themselves. And when this is not there, we can't talk about the beds, isn't it? So the poet seems to be lucky, privileged one, to have a cozy bed and can think of his mother. Not everyone is so lucky, right? So these were the answers. Now, in the first question, all 4 questions will be written in your CW, and from the second question you will be writing only the last one, the third one, right? Now we are going to see, there is a nice line here written by Abraham Lincoln. All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe it to my angel mother. How beautifully written and very true. We are now done with the poem The Rain on the Roof. If you feel that you have any doubts, feel free to text, okay, or WhatsApp. We will be meeting not by the next week but the following week, and I want you all till then to keep finishing and completing your work instead of staking your work up. You see, you must be doing it regularly at intervals, and for all the subjects, and so as for English. Okay, I'll be seeing you again not the next week but the following week. Till then, you all keep learning and keep safe. Thank you.